Polo Grounds, New York, October 7th, 1922. Game 3 of the World Series, Yankees versus Giants. The same two teams that faced each other last year. The same ballpark they share as landlord and tenant. The same bitter rivalry that has been building for 3 seasons. But this year is different. This year is worse. Because this year, Giants manager John McGraw has decided to make it personal. The game has been brutal for Babe Ruth. 3 at-bats, 3 failures, a strikeout on a curveball that made him look foolish, a weak ground ball to second base, a pop-up to shallow left field. And through every single at-bat, from the moment Ruth stepped into the batter's box until the moment he walked back to the dugout, John McGraw has been screaming at him from the Giants bench. Not general heckling, specific insults, calculated humiliation. And designed to break Ruth mentally. McGraw has studied Ruth. He knows the big man's weakness is not physical, it is psychological. Ruth's temper, Ruth's pride, Ruth's need to prove himself. And McGraw, the most brilliant tactical mind in baseball, is exploiting every vulnerability. In the 3rd inning, Ruth strikes out. McGraw's voice cuts through the crowd. Big Baboon cannot hit a real pitch. The Giants bench erupts in laughter. In the 6th inning, Ruth grounds out. McGraw again. Look at the baboon waddle, too fat to run. The Giants fans pick up the chant. Baboon, baboon, baboon. In the 9th inning, Ruth strikes out on a curveball to end the game. Giants win 3-0. The Polo Grounds erupts. Giants players rush onto the field, celebrating their 2nd consecutive World Series victory over the Yankees. And from the Giants' dugout, go McGraw's voice one more time. That is what happens when you send a baboon to do a man's job. Ruth stands at home plate, bat still in his hands, watching the celebration. Watching McGraw walk across the field toward his victorious players, slapping backs, shaking hands, grinning like a man who has just won something more than a baseball game. Ruth does not move for a long moment. Then he drops the bat, walks slowly toward the Yankees' dugout. His teammates are already heading to the clubhouse, heads down, defeated. This is the 2nd straight World Series they have lost to the Giants. Last year was bad. This year feels worse. Because McGraw has not just beaten them, he has humiliated them, humiliated Ruth specifically. Lou Gehrig is waiting near the dugout. He sees Ruth's face, sees something in his eyes that makes him nervous. Babe, I forget it. We will get them next year. Ruth does not respond. He walks past Gehrig, down the steps, into the tunnel that leads to the clubhouses. The Polo Grounds has 2 clubhouses, side by side. The home clubhouse for the Giants, the visiting clubhouse for whoever is playing them, in this case, the Yankees. A thin wall separates them. You can hear sounds through that wall, celebrations, arguments, sometimes even conversations. Right now, Ruth can hear the Giants celebrating. Loud voices, laughter, the pop of champagne bottles, music from a radio someone brought in, the sound of men who have won. The Yankees clubhouse is silent, players sitting on benches, staring at the floor. Some still in uniform, some half-changed. Nobody talking. What is there to say? They have been outplayed, outmanaged, embarrassed on their home field in front of 40,000 fans. Ruth walks to his locker, sits down, does not start changing, just sits, listening. Through the wall, he can hear McGraw's voice, still loud, still confident, telling a story, something about how easy it was to pitch to Ruth, how predictable he was, how the mighty Bambino could not adjust to a simple curveball. The Giants players laugh. Someone makes a joke. Ruth cannot hear the words, but he hears the laughter, hears his name, hears Baboon. His hands curl into fists. Bob Musell, Ruth's teammate and road trip companion, notices. Babe, let it go. Ruth stands up, still in full uniform, walks toward the door. Where are you going? Musell asks. Ruth does not answer. He opens the door, steps into the hallway, turns left instead of right, away from the exit, toward the other clubhouse. Musell jumps up. Babe, do not do this. But Ruth is already gone, moving down the hallway with purpose. The hallway is narrow, concrete floor, exposed pipes on the ceiling, dim lighting. At the end of the hall, Ruth does not wait for an invitation. He steps forward, The player instinctively steps back. Ruth walks into the Giants' clubhouse. Enemy territory. Forbidden space. The celebration stops completely. 25 men freeze, some holding champagne bottles, some half-dressed, some mid-laugh. All of them now staring at Babe Ruth, standing in their clubhouse wearing a Yankees uniform. For a moment, nobody moves. Nobody speaks. The shock is total. You do not walk into the opposing team's clubhouse after a game. You especially do not walk into their clubhouse after they have just beaten you in the World Series. It is unwritten law. It is respect. It is how things are done. Ruth has just shattered that law, and everyone in the room knows it. One of the Giants players takes a step forward. Big guy! Veteran! Hey, you cannot be in here. Get out. Oh, Ruth does not look at him. His eyes are scanning the room, looking for one person. Where is McGraw? The room is silent. Someone else speaks up. You need to leave. Now. Ruth's voice is louder, calm but carrying. Where is John McGraw? Movement at the back of the room. A door opens. McGraw steps out of his office. He is 49 years old, 5 feet 7 inches tall, maybe 160 pounds. He looks like a banker, neat suit, slicked hair, wire-rimmed glasses. But everyone in baseball knows John McGraw is no banker. He is a fighter, a scrapper, a man who clawed his way up from the Baltimore streets to become the most successful manager in the National League. He has won 4 World Series. He fears no one. McGraw sees Ruth. His expression does not change. He walks forward slowly, deliberately. His players part to let him through. McGraw stops about 10 feet from Ruth. The two men look at each other. The size difference is comical. Ruth is 6 feet 2 inches, 220 pounds. McGraw barely reaches his chest, but McGraw does not seem intimidated. If anything, he seems amused. You want something, Ruth? His voice is calm, almost friendly. But there is an edge to it. A challenge. Ruth takes one step closer. You have been running your mouth all game. McGraw's eyebrow raises slightly. Have I? You called me a baboon. McGraw smiles, small smile. Controlled? Did I? Maybe I did. Is that a problem? Ruth's fists clench at his sides. You want to say it to my face instead of from a dugout? McGraw's smile widens. Just a fraction. All right, you are a baboon, Ruth. A big, clumsy baboon who cannot hit a curveball to save his life. You are overweight. You are overrated. And you just went 2 for 17 in a World Series against my team. The Giants players are tense, ready to move if this turns physical. But McGraw is calm, totally in control. Ruth's breathing is heavy. His face is red, but he does not move. McGraw continues. You came all the way over here to hear that again? You could have just stayed in your own clubhouse and listened through the wall. We were talking plenty loud, more laughter from the Giants players. Nervous laughter. But laughter. Ruth takes another step forward. Now he is maybe 5 feet from McGraw, close enough to reach out and grab him, close enough to throw a punch. McGraw does not step back, does not flinch, just stands there, looking up at Ruth, waiting. For several seconds, nobody moves. The tension in the room is crushing. This could explode into violence at any moment. No 25 Giants players against 1 Yankee. It would be a massacre, but it would also be a scandal, a black mark on baseball. And everyone in the room knows it. Ruth speaks. His voice is lower now, controlled. You think this is over? McGraw's expression does not change. I know it is over. We won. You lost. See you next year, assuming you even make it back to the series. Ruth stares at him. McGraw stares back, neither man blinking. Then McGraw says something that makes everything worse. You should leave now, babe. You are making a fool of yourself. Again. That word. Again. Implying that Ruth has already made a fool of himself on the field. That walking into this clubhouse is just more foolishness. More evidence that the Bambino is all bluster and no brains. Ruth's jaw works. He is chewing on words he wants to say. In insults he wants to throw. Threats he wants to make. But nothing comes out. Because McGraw is right. Ruth is standing in enemy territory, outnumbered, uninvited, looking desperate. McGraw gestures toward the door. Run along, babe. Go back to your clubhouse. Maybe have some hot dogs. I hear that is what you do best. The Giants players laugh again, louder this time. The tension is breaking. They see that Ruth is not going to do anything, that this was just a show, an empty gesture from a frustrated man. Ruth stands there for another moment, then he turns, walks toward the door. Every step feels like defeat. The laughter follows him. Someone makes another joke. More laughter. He reaches the door, grabs the handle, stops, turns back, looks directly at McGraw. One more time. Next year. McGraw nods, still smiling. Sure, babe, next year. Ruth walks out, closes the door behind him. The sound of laughter is muffled now, but still audible. He stands in the hallway for a moment, breathing hard. His hands are shaking, not from fear, from rage, from humiliation. He just made everything worse. He gave McGraw and the Giants more ammunition, more stories to tell, more proof that Babe Ruth is a hot-headed fool who cannot control himself. He walks back to the Yankees clubhouse, opens the door. His teammates look up. They know where he went. They heard the Giants laughing even louder after he left. Nobody says anything. What is there to say? Ruth sits down at his locker, starts taking off his uniform. His hands are still shaking. Bob Musell sits down next to him. That went well. Ruth does not respond. Musell continues. What did McGraw say? Ruth pulls off his jersey. Aim throws it on the floor. He told me to go eat hot dogs. The 1922 World Series ends 2 days later. Giants sweep the Yankees in 5 games. One game ends in a tie because of darkness. But the other 4 are all Giants victories. Ruth finishes the series with 2 hits and 17 at-bats, a .118 batting average, 0 home runs, 1 RBI. The worst performance of his career. The newspapers are brutal. The New York Times calls him an exploded phenomenon. The Daily News says the mighty Bambino has been exposed as ordinary. Fans boo him at the final game. The same fans who cheered him all season, who called him the greatest player in baseball. Now, they want him gone. McGraw gives interviews. He is gracious in victory, professional. He praises his players, compliments the Yankees' effort. But when asked about Ruth specifically, McGraw cannot resist. Ruth is a wonderful talent, but he relies too much on power. Baseball is a thinking man's game. You cannot just swing hard and hope for the best. When pressed on whether he thinks Ruth is overrated, McGraw smiles. That small, controlled smile. I think Ruth is exactly what everyone says he is, a great showman. The reporters write that down, read between the lines. McGraw just called Ruth all show and no substance. The story spreads. Within days, it is national news. John McGraw has defeated Babe Ruth, not just in the World Series, in a war of words, in a battle of wills. Ruth has been humiliated on the field and off it. The winter of 1922 to 1923 is long for Babe Ruth. Everywhere he goes, people remember the World Series, McGraw's insults, Ruth charging into the Giants clubhouse like a fool. Friends try to console him. Forget about it, babe. But Ruth cannot forget. He starts training, hard, harder than ever. Personal trainer, daily workouts, running, weights, cutting back on drinking. His friends notice. Babe, you will wear yourself out. Ruth keeps working. The Yankees are building Yankee Stadium, opening April 1923. Everyone is calling it the house that Ruth built. But Ruth knows that is not enough. Until he beats McGraw, the stadium will be a monument to his failure. Spring training, 1923. Ruth shows up in the best shape of his life. His teammates are shocked. He has lost 15 pounds. His gut is smaller. His face is leaner. He looks focused, driven. During batting practice, he is crushing balls. Home runs to all fields. Line drives that sound like gunshots off the bat. The coaches notice. Whatever happened last winter, it worked. The 1923 season begins. Yankee Stadium opens on April 18th. 74,000 fans. The largest crowd in baseball history. Ruth hits a home run in the first game. A massive shot to right field that clears the fence by 20 feet. The crowd goes insane. This is what they came to see. This is the Babe they remember. All season long, Ruth is unstoppable. He hits 41 home runs, drives in 131 runs, bats .393. He is back, better than ever. The Yankees dominate the American League, win the pennant easily, and in October, they are back in the World Series, against the Giants. for the third straight year. The rematch everyone has been waiting for. McGraw versus Ruth. Round 3. But this time, something is different. This time, the Yankees are not playing at the Polo Grounds as tenants. They are playing at Yankee Stadium. Their house, Ruth's house. Game 1, Yankee Stadium. Ruth comes to the plate in the first inning. The crowd is roaring. McGraw is in the Giants' dugout, watching, waiting. The Giants' pitcher throws a curveball, the same pitch that destroyed Ruth last year. Ruth waits, watches it, lets it go by for a ball. The pitcher throws another curveball. Ruth swings, connects. The ball explodes off his bat. It is not just a home run, it is a statement. The ball soars over the right field fence, over the wall, into the bleachers, 450 feet, maybe more. The stadium erupts. Ruth rounds the bases slowly, taking his time. As he crosses home plate, he looks toward the Giants' dugout. McGraw is standing there, arms crossed, face expressionless. Ruth does not smile, does not celebrate, just looks at McGraw for one long moment, then walks back to the Yankees' dugout. Message sent, Game 3. Ruth hits another home run, this one even longer, 475 feet, upper deck. The Giants' pitchers have no answer. They try curves, they try fastballs, they try everything McGraw tells them to throw. Nothing works. Ruth is seeing the ball like it is a beach ball. Game 5. The Yankees are ahead 3-1, one win away from their first World Series championship. Ruth comes up in the 8th inning. Yankees already leading 6-4. Not a crucial at-bat. The game is basically decided, but Ruth treats it like the most important at-bat of his life. The Giants' pitcher throws a curveball, the pitch McGraw used to destroy Ruth last year. Ruth swings. Third home run of the series. The ball disappears into the right field stands. Ruth rounds the bases. This time, he does not look at the Giants' dugout, does not need to. The point has been made. Final score, Yankees 8, Giants 4. The Yankees win the World Series for the first time in franchise history. The celebration is massive. Fans rush onto the field. Players dogpile at the pitcher's mound. Champagne flows in the clubhouse. Ruth sits at his locker, holding a bottle of champagne, not drinking, just holding it, staring at nothing. Lou Gehrig sits down next to him. We did it, babe. We finally beat them. Ruth nods. Yeah, we did. Gehrig waits for more, but Ruth is quiet, lost in thought. After a while, Gehrig stands up, joins the celebration. Ruth stays seated. A few minutes later, someone knocks on the clubhouse door. It is unusual. The clubhouse is supposed to be closed, players only. A Yankee security guard opens it, talks to someone outside, then walks over to Ruth. Mr. Ruth, someone wants to see you. Ruth looks up. Who? The guard hesitates. John McGraw. The clubhouse goes quiet. Everyone heard. Everyone is watching. Ruth stands up, walks to the door. McGraw is standing in the hallway, still in his suit, still composed. But something is different. The arrogance is gone. The smirk is gone. He looks tired, older. Ruth steps into the hallway, closes the door behind him. The two men stand there. Same hallway where Ruth walked to the Giants' clubhouse last year. Same space, different circumstances. McGraw speaks first. Hell of a series, Ruth. You earned it. Ruth does not respond, just waits. McGraw continues. I came to say congratulations. And to say I was wrong. Last year I said some things, called you some names. I thought I could get in your head. Thought I could beat you mentally. Turns out I just made you better. Ruth finally speaks. You called me a baboon, McGraw nods. I did, and I apologize. That was beneath me, beneath the game. You are a great player, babe, maybe the greatest I have ever seen, and I made the mistake of underestimating you. Ruth looks at him, this man who humiliated him, who mocked him, who made last winter hell, and he sees something he did not expect, respect, genuine respect. Ruth extends his hand. McGraw takes it. They shake. Firm grip, eye contact, no words needed. McGraw turns to leave, stops, looks back. One more thing, that stadium they built for you. It is perfect, you deserve it. Then he walks away. Down the hallway, out of sight. Ruth stands there for a moment, Then he opens the clubhouse door, steps back inside. The celebration is still raging. Someone hands him a champagne bottle. This time, he drinks. Years later, in 1948, Babe Ruth is dying of throat cancer. He is 53. A reporter asks about his greatest moment. Ruth writes, because speaking is painful. Beating McGraw in 1923. The reporter is confused. Not one of your 714 home runs, Ruth writes again. McGraw made me better. 1922 was the worst year of my life. 1923 was the best. Not about hitting home runs, about proving you belong. John McGraw manages until 1932. When he retires, reporters ask about his greatest rival. McGraw does not hesitate. Babe Ruth. Ruth taught me never to give a great player extra motivation. I mocked him in 1922 and created a monster. The 1923 Ruth was unstoppable. That was my fault. I woke him up. McGraw dies in 1934. Ruth stands at the casket. Someone asks what he is thinking. Ruth does not answer immediately, but later he tells a story about walking into the Giants clubhouse in 1922, about McGraw's dismissal, about the revenge in 1923. He ends with words that surprise everyone. I hated McGraw for a long time, but looking back, I owe him everything. He showed me I was not good enough, made me become better. That is what great rivals do. They push you to places you would never go alone. McGraw pushed me, and I am grateful. That gratitude, earned through humiliation and redeemed through triumph, is the real story. Not the insults, not the home runs, the transformation, the journey from baboon to legend, made possible by a man who knew how to wound Ruth's pride and accidentally taught him how to become immortal.